Hello everyone, my name is Blackwatch. Welcome to another episode of How to Play, the series where I go through the loadout, strengths, weaknesses, and some tips and tricks for operators in Siege. Timestamps in the description. And today we're talking about Emmanuelle Pichon, also known as Twitch. She is an operator who's been looked over a little bit lately. I think that she's going to see a resurgence once people start to really clock on to how to use it properly, and they realise that actually she's a pretty good alternative to Thatcher. So, Twitch is a 2-armor, 2-speed operator on the attacking side. She's a member of the GIGN CTU, it's a French CTU, and she has 3 primary weapons. So she has the 417 DMR, which is a very good DMR, access to lots of sites. The F2, which is the femme assault rifle, is also very good, but high recoil, so you've got to be used to that if you're going to be using it. And our last weapon is SG CQB shotgun. I'd say it's the best pump action shotgun in the game. Very, very good shotgun if you do like using shotguns, but I'd say not to pick this for competitive, particularly when she has the 417 and the F2, which are both very good choices. In terms of secondary, she has the P9 pistol. This is a high cap, semi-automatic. It's pretty good. And the LFP 586 revolver, which is very, very nice. It's a heavy hitting pistol. Personally don't take it on Twitch, but I use it on Mont all the time. It's a perfectly good option. Great gun. She has 2 secondary gadget choices, so you got smoke grenades and a claymore. For me, I'm often using Twitch alongside Thermite, so I use a claymore to complement the fact that he has smoke grenades. And her unique gadget is the RSD Model 1 shock drone. She has 2 of these, and they shoot an infinite range laser beam. It's a single shot, it's not a continuous beam, and it can destroy any vulnerable enemy gadgets with a few exceptions. So for example, the frost mats can't be destroyed, or they can be, but it takes 14 shots to destroy, so it's not practical for everyday use. And bulletproof gadgets need to have their weak points exposed before they can be destroyed. The drone can jump, but it is noisy when it does that, noisier than a regular drone. The Twitch drone has a very specific sound that's different to the regular drones, so people will know when your drone is around versus a regular drone. Each drone that you have has 3 shots, but those shots will recharge. It just takes quite a lot of time for each individual shot to recharge, and it's not as if they're all recharging at the same time. It is a queued cooldown. So be aware, once you've used those 3, that drone is going to be mostly out of commission for quite some time. It can also damage players. There's 5 damage per shot, so if you have someone who's been downed and has been bleeding for a while, you can finish them off with 1 or 2 shots from the drone. So it's an option if you need to do that, but obviously you want to get your regular job done before you look to do that. In terms of strengths, Twitch is a permanent solution to gadgets. Her prerogative isn't to disable them, it's to destroy them, and so that's what she does that basically gives you a more permanent option than an EMP. She can deal with more gadgets overall as well versus Thatcher, which is a useful thing. I mean, in terms of the volume that she actually destroys, it's not like you're going to get the opportunity to do that with just 3 AMPs, whereas with 6 shots across 2 drones and the potential for more shots throughout the round, you can take out a lot of stuff. Plus it's a very precise tool. It can counter Mira and Goyo where other people can't, because it can shoot out the canisters on both of their gadgets. And her loadout is very, very strong for an anti-electronics operator, especially when compared to Thatcher. I'd say that she has 2 options that are better than his options, honestly. Although I do like his guns, don't get me wrong. In terms of weaknesses, it's not always easy to find a line of sight to the gadgets that you're looking for. Obviously you're countered by 2 very popular operators in terms of Mute and Mozzie, and gunfire is also one of her biggest counters. If there's any explosions that go off, if there's any stray shots, or even if someone just hears your drone with that distinctive sound, turns around, takes a single shot, that's your drone out of the game. And as I say, the noisy drone is not too sneaky. And the other one is the fact that she's now countered by bulletproof gadgets. She can take these out, but she's going to need the assistance of an operator like Thatcher to be able to do so. In terms of tips and tricks for Twitch, I've got a few here. So use your normal drone to discover entries to the site during prep. What I mean by this is you want to look out for your jammers, your Mozzie stuff, before you actually send your main drone in to do the job. That way you know the safe routes, and you can go through those safe routes and exploit the fact that you're not going to be dealing with that gadget. Then the only thing you have to deal with after that is the bad people on the other side of the entry. Abuse long sightlines if you can. If you have a safe entry point that is miles away from the gadget that you need, but does have a clean line of sight that you can jump up to, then abuse that. You can jump now with the gadget, don't forget that. A lot of people do play Twitch and then actually forget that you can now jump with a drone. And they also forget that the range of the laser is infinite. This is probably your strongest thing, is the combination of the mobility from the jump and the infinite range on the laser. Abuse that as much as you can, and if you can do your job without being exposed at all, or with your exposure being absolutely minimal to the enemy team, you're going to get more value out of the gadget for a longer period of time. Don't spend all day on the drone. There's plenty of Twitch players who will just throw their gadget out from the point of spawn, and then they'll be there away from an area where they can actually assist their team as a gun and as a person, and then you won't see them until towards the end of the round, and that's not any use. You want to use this more actively. If you can get to the area that you need to be able to go to destroy your stuff, and you can do that quickly without sacrificing your drone, then opt for that option rather than tracking the drone all the way from your spawn zone. That is not a good plan. If you can approach jammed or mozzied doors at an angle, there is actually the possibility that you'll be able to hit their gadget from a safe range away from the door frame. The reason you want to do this is because it will open up a sightline for you. The reason you might not want to do this is because if you do have to go too close to the door, there is a chance that you're going to be in the jammer's range. You might be in the range of the mozzie drone. It might see you from around the corner, but obviously you want to abuse your range, so I would recommend you doing that. But the other thing is, you have to consider the fact that when you do this, they are going to know that you're coming from there, because they'll have heard their drone or whatever it is, their pest or their jammer get destroyed, and they'll have heard the sound of your drone moving in and the laser going off, and immediately they'll be on alert to try and protect the next thing that they need to protect, i.e. bandit batteries, electro claws, that kind of stuff. Try to get your gadgets on the move. So this is more referring to the likes of mute jammers and bandit batteries. You want to be able to just really quickly go zap one, drive forward, zap the next one, and you want to be on the move as you're doing that, because it's harder for people to take you out that way rather than driving up, stopping, presenting a really easy shot for them, and driving on again. This obviously doesn't apply quite so well when you're playing against the Kaid, because Kaid has a very difficult gadget to hit. It's a very small hitbox in comparison. So for those ones, you really want to get yourself into a sightline where you're safe to take it out. But if you can adjust to shooting on the fly, I know it's more difficult on console than it is on PC, then you're in a better position overall. If you get taken out when you're moving from one area, then move the drone in from a different area the next time. Don't move in the same place again. Number of times that I've seen people on the likes of Chalet Garage put the drone through the drone hole and then it gets destroyed, and they just do the same thing again. It's needless, and it leads to your team having a massive disadvantage, because if you're the only person who can open the thing that needs to be opened, then that's not good. So try to avoid this. If you're at a distance from a gadget and you're not sure if you're going to be able to hit it, just ping. And if your ping activates and pings the gadget you're looking at, you know that your crosshair is directly on the hitbox of the gadget, and you're safe to then pull the trigger, rather than taking the risk of missing it from a distance and them seeing the tracer from your laser, especially if you're doing it from far away. If you remember how loud your drone is, it will hopefully allow you to basically minimize your movement when you're near enemies. This thing is surprisingly loud, and it is very distinctive, and people will turn on it if they know that you're going around. But obviously this is a totally different situation if you're in the middle of destroying gadgets. If you're doing that, then you just got to destroy your gadgets and be as quick as you can. And the other thing is that you really want to focus, and I say the other thing, I mean the last thing, you really want to focus on the gadgets that you need to be destroyed most before you start zapping the less important stuff. It's no good that you've destroyed all 3 ADSs if your thermite's waiting on a wall and he doesn't have you there to destroy the bandit charges that are in the way. So focus on the thing that needs to be done first, the most important walls, the most important gadgets, get rid of them, and then you can move on to the secondary stuff that's still going to be helpful for the team, but isn't as essential as the likes of breach denial. So, hope you're having a good weekend, lads. I know this one's up a wee bit later than it normally would be on a Saturday, but I just ran into a couple of issues, i.e. being absolutely shattered on Friday night, so I've had to do this on the Saturday morning, combined with a bit of rugby watching as well. So hope you're having a good time. Dopo batching you, everybody. See you next week for how to play Doc. I'm looking forward to that one. Bye bye.